We actually spend a fair amount, not necessarily on content protection. Actually, the serious answer there is we do let Disney kind of figure that out, and we follow them there. But Sony adopted British Standard 17799, which is ISO 27000. We have a really big global security standard, and there's been a lot of work put around that. It's all over the place, from the back office all the way through making sure we can see all content leaving our networks, to a lot of awareness. So a lot of, especially when we talk about devices going everywhere, you can never lock anything down. So we've got a lot of money to spend on awareness, risk-based mitigation. Sony globally is actually looking at now kind of GRC tools for kind of normalizing all of our compliance activities across. So it's dependent on the year, but we've actually had a separate line item outside the IT budget just dedicated to Sony's Global Information Security Program. That's been pretty sizable. So.
Yeah, I don't have an exact percentage for it, but I mean, Disney takes security really, really seriously, particularly given so much of our audience is kids. So we invest pretty heavily in a lot of things that make sure it's a safe environment for kids. We invest substantively in moderation for any of the places where actually kids are allowed to chat or have any kind of interaction whatsoever. We've got a group that really monitors that, and we have a lot of procedures in case something happens in that space. Then in terms of IT security and website security and content security, we have a lot of great practices around that, and then we spend a fair amount of time auditing it. It comes to the security officer and make sure that we do that and are happy to do that.
Yeah, I think anytime you work for a company that has a well-known brand, you're going to find that investment. So we had a bunch of issues earlier in the decade, like for instance the root kit, which wasn't even Sony at that time. Sony Music was owned by Bertelsmann and operated mostly by Bertelsmann.
Or Neil Diamond.
Yeah. But I think that's where that's why it's the big investment at the Sony levels, because they had a number of things that came out and they're determined not to let that happen. So I think it's a big difference in the brand versus how much is
it's just baked into everything, I think, at our company as well. So it's really just a part of all the efforts that we do.
I'm up for audit next quarter, so I'm hoping not very much spending. I think that just, again, the big challenge is in a traditional, IT context, you can look at servers and you can look at, stuff like that. But as we go farther out, for example, you look at something like Jan Rain or OpenID, where you are putting an app that you host, but it sits on Facebook. That relationship is opaque to the user. They're signing in as they would, into their Facebook account. But now, where does that data live exactly? Stuff like that. Those issues are going to become very, very, we'll have to address them.
For us, the risks are not the same. We're kind of an order of magnitude simpler because we're not business to consumer brand like a lot of the folks here. But the kind of risk that we have is not so much intellectual property risk, but reputational risk to our clients. So we spend a lot of time, and I don't know the percentage, but we do spend quite a bit to secure client information, because one leaked thing to TMZ, and that we could see an exodus of clients, that kind of thing. So, and it has happened to agencies in the past with leaks. So we jealously guard that. We're very, very, very secretive about those things.